So we got a bit of Beatle news today, and the irony, I was literally about to sit down and make a video about the teaser post we got yesterday from the Beatles camp that was teasing Let It Be, but wasn't an official announcement yet. I went to go wash my face, put on my makeup, just in the amount of time it took me to do that and come back in that, 20 minutes. Apparently the announcement's here now, so I'm like, oh, okay, there's no speculation. I guess now we just know what's happening, alright. So, let it be, at last. So let me first point out what the teaser post was. It was these four squares. Sorry, I have to tip it like this so it'll pick up. And it just says, at last, ... there will be an answer. So I'm over here like, missed opportunity. You could have had, there will be an answer, ... finally. But okay, I'm not the one doing the marketing, it don't friggin' matter. So, let's pull back up the article. Let it be at last. Michael Lindsay Hogg's original 1970 film about the Beatles meticulously restored by Peter Jackson's team at Park Road Post-Production to launch exclusively on Disney Plus May 8th, 2024. That's not that far away, that's just a few weeks. So, May 8th on Disney Plus. Burbank, California, released on April 16th. Today, Disney Plus announced that Let It Be, director Michael Lindsay Hogg's original 1970 film about the Beatles, will launch exclusively on Disney Plus May 8th, 2024. This is the first time the film is available in over 50 years. You sure about that? Maybe 40. Didn't it have a VHS release in the 80s? Anyway, first released in May 1970 amidst the swirl of the Beatles' breakup, Let It Be now takes its rightful place in the band's history. Once viewed through a darker lens, the film is now brought to light through its restoration and in the context of revelations brought forth in Peter Jackson's multiple Emmy Award-winning docuseries, The Beatles Get Back. Released on Disney Plus in 2021, the docuseries showcases the iconic foursome's warmth and camaraderie, capturing a pivotal moment in music history. Let It Be contains footage not featured in the Get Back docuseries, bringing viewers into the studio and onto Apple Corps' London rooftop, January 1969, as the Beatles, joined by Billy Preston, write and record their Grammy Award-winning album Let It Be, with its Academy Award-winning title song, and perform live for the final time as a group. With the release of The Beatles Get Back, fan clamor for the original Let It Be film reached a fever pitch. With Lindsay Hogg's full support, Apple Corps asked Peter Jackson's Park Road Post-Production to dive into a meticulous restoration of the film from the original 16mm negative, which included lovingly remastering the sound using the same MAL demix technology that was applied to the Get Back docuseries. Michael Lindsay Hogg says, Let It Be was ready to go in October/November 1969, but it didn't come out till April of 1970. 1 month before its release, the Beatles officially broke up, and so the people went to see Let It Be with sadness in their hearts, thinking, I'll never see the Beatles together again. I will never have that joy again, and it very much darkened the perception of the film. But in fact, how often do you get to see artists of this stature working together to make what they hear in their heads into songs? And then you get to the roof, and you see their excitement, camaraderie, and sheer joy in playing together again as a group, and know, as we do now, that it was the final time, and we view it with full understanding of who they were, and still are, and a little poignancy. I was knocked out by what Peter was able to do with Get Back using all the footage I'd shot 50 years previously. I'm absolutely thrilled that Michael's movie Let It Be has been restored and is finally being re-released after being unavailable for decades, says Peter Jackson. I was so lucky to have access to Michael's outtakes for Get Back, and I always thought that Let It Be is needed to complete the Get Back story. Over 3 parts, we showed Michael and the Beatles filming a groundbreaking new documentary, and Let It Be is that documentary, the movie they released in 1970. I now think of it all as one epic story, finally completed after 5 decades. The two projects support and enhance each other. Let It Be is the climax of Get Back, while Get Back provides vital missing context for Let It Be. Michael Lindsay Hogg was unfailingly helpful and gracious while I made Get Back, and it's only right that his original movie has the last word, looking and sounding far better than it did in 1970. Let It Be, directed by Michael Lindsay Hogg, stars John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, with a special appearance by Billy Preston. The film was produced by Neil Aspinall, with the Beatles acting as executive producers. The director of photography was Anthony B. Richmond. Let It Be will debut exclusively on Disney Plus May 8th, 2024. So, no mention of a Blu-ray release coming, but I think it's a fairly safe bet that we'll probably get one. I know people are already theorizing that. And for that, you know, I probably will buy it. I know I've gone on the record time and time again saying Let It Be is actually my least favorite Beatle thing, but the completionist in me wants to own it. I have never owned a proper copy of Let It Be. I have a copy of a copy of a copy of a rental copy on VHS somewhere, but who still uses VCRs? So I've watched that movie a grand total of twice in my life. And part of that is just the fact of knowing that I have this very shoddy quality copy of it that doesn't look or sound very good, so why would I put myself through that again and again? I'm not going to. But if it's restored, if it's easily accessible, maybe I will. Maybe my feelings have changed on it. I don't know. Granted, initially, when I heard even the teaser of this being a release, part of me was confused. I was like, I thought Get Back was serving a purpose as like an extended, expanded look at that time frame, and changed the narrative to be one that's not so bleak, not so dreary. Okay, it did that. It accomplished that very much so. It took a hell of a lot of hours to get there, but it did its thing and it did it well. Reminder to self, I still need to review Get Back Part 3. I never did that one. But regardless, I did think after watching that, it'd be interesting to go back and rewatch Let It Be now and compare and contrast after having seen this. Now, I know how I am. I know I'm going to want to physically own it, and I know I'm not alone in that. So, if there is a physical release coming, yeah, I'll probably have it on pre-order the second it's available. That said, even with physically owning it, as long as it's on Disney Plus, how am I most likely going to watch it? On Disney Plus. Because I have a smart TV and I don't have to hook up a DVD player or a Blu-ray player or any other shit. I can just type it in and it's there, ready to go in just the same quality that it would be on a physical disc. But that said, I still want a physical disc because if they ever pull it, I will be pissed. So... And I'm not alone in that. So, alright. Now, some are going, why now? Why after 3 years from the release of Get Back? Why would you wait this long and do it now? Well, easy, because if they had released them together, one would have eclipsed the other and nobody would have given a shit. And people, they tend to be loyal to what was canonically part of the fandom first. They would have leaped onto Let It Be and probably dismissed Get Back, and Get Back would have flopped. So I feel like this was a smart move that they did pace it out, and they did wait and made sure everyone had time to watch Get Back first. I mean, at this point, if you haven't seen Get Back, you're probably not gonna bother with it, but regardless, I feel that was a smart move, but I also feel it is important to have both films there, just as they pointed out. They're right. They are companion pieces to each other. So, in that light, I'm glad that we're getting both. And just in general, observing what Disney Plus releases, it seems like they're getting the rights to more and more classic rock content that they're uploading, or are planning to upload. So I'm like, okay. I see what they're doing here. Disney is hemorrhaging money. They're trying to find something that will give people a reason to stay subscribed to them. I get it. And if they get a cornerstone on the market with, like, music documentaries and stuff, okay, that's a pretty valid reason to keep it, you know? I understand. They're not dumb. They know what they're doing. Disney's been in business a hell of a long time. They know what they're doing. So, with that in mind, are we ever going to see the other Beatle films on here? Maybe. Am I holding my breath that we'll get all 5? No. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. It would make my life a hell of a lot easier if they would do the thing. But am I holding my breath? No. What do I realistically see happening? Best case scenario? Hard Day's Night, Yellow Sub, Let It Be. That'll probably be the 3 of the 5 that we could most likely expect to potentially see pop up on it. Why do I say that? Because Help, in my lifetime, I'll be 40 next year. In my lifetime, there has never been a theatrical run of Help. And why is that? Through today's lens of political correctness, they can't. They would be canceled so fast for all of the depictions of Middle Eastern stereotypes that are, I mean, even for the 60s, they were problematic. Let's be real. I say that, and yet Help is still my favorite Beatle movie. Do not get it twisted. But I also understand why they can't. So, if they can't even give it a theatrical run, why the hell would they put it on streaming where even more people would see it? I get it. I get why they've distanced themselves from it. On a selfish level, it makes me sad because I would love to have it that easily accessible at any given moment, but it's fine. It is what it is, but that's why I feel like we won't realistically see that one. I may eat my words if they prove me wrong, and I will be happy to eat those words if they ever do the thing. I'm telling you, I'm not holding my breath. I don't see them doing it, and that's the reason I don't see them doing it. Magical Mystery Tour, it's like a 45-minute film, and with what prudes Disney are, do you really see them putting in a 45-minute film that flopped historically? People didn't really dig it, even in hindsight, most people don't like it. I'm in the minority of people who do. But it ends with, like, a stripper scene. Censored, granted, but, like, I don't see Disney being real wild to want to push that one out either, between the sex and the implied drug use that's happening through the entire thing. I don't see them doing it. Granted, they Get Back happened, it had warnings all over all 3 parts on there, but okay, drugs aren't necessarily a deal breaker for them, but on the other hand, given how short the film is, and the fact that it's not really telling any kind of narrative, it's just a completionist piece in the Beatles puzzle, do I realistically see them adding it? No. No. I wish they would, but I don't see it happening. So, I think at best we might get Yellow Sub, which Disney already has the rights to, because remember, they were going to do a remake of it back in the early 2010s, that thank God fell through. Hard Day's Night, cinematic classic, that's the one that, like, generally, if something's getting a theatrical run, it's either that or Yellow Sub, and it's usually Hard Day's Night. So, those are pretty safe bets. Confirmation on Let It Be. I think that's what we're going to get here. Now, side projects apart from that, if we're lucky, maybe we'll get Shea Stadium. I mean, I live in hope. I live in hope. I would really love to see it, but as far as the other 2 films go, I'm not holding my breath. I feel like I have better odds of holding my breath for a restoration and maybe expansion on the anthology project. That I would love to see. I would love to see that possibly more than them adding any other Beatle thing at this point. Am I holding my breath on that? No. But would I love to see it? Yes. So that's about where we're at. And I'm seeing 2 camps of fans with this. I'm seeing a lot of younger fans who are over the frickin' moon ecstatic about this. And I understand they haven't had a chance to experience Let It Be, at least not in unpirated ways anyway. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way, you know. A lot of them have seen it that way, but but still, it's exciting for them. They're younger, they haven't had as much time to have new Beatle releases in their lives. Do not shit on their excitement. Let them have this one, please. Let them have it. Because for every new Beatle release, even if you're going, yawn, who cares? For every new Beatle release, there is always going to be an influx of brand new baby fans coming in that otherwise may never have found the fandom. You leave them alone. Do not shit on their excitement. Do not ruin this for them. I am very protective of them because I remember what it's like to be one of them, okay? Like, as a kid, it wasn't cool to be a Beatle fan back then the way that it has become in more recent generations. So, I get it. That's why I'm like, no. You leave those younger fans alone. You let them be excited and fangirl as hard as they want to. You leave them alone. Then, we have the jaded fans who are like, who gives a shit? That's about the extent of it. I'm seeing both extremes, and I'm not seeing a lot of middle ground. I've seen a couple middle ground people, but not a lot of it. So, it's interesting kind of just sitting back and looking around the fandom and observing what all's going on, because it seems to be 2 very extreme opposites that are happening here. And to be fair, I witnessed this go down with Get Back as well. So this is nothing new. This happens every time we get any new Beatle release of any kind. It happens every single time. I'm just saying, let the excited people be excited, okay? Don't rain on their parade. And if you are just sitting there yawning through it, you know, just kind of keep it to yourself. Like, if you're not excited, you're not excited. That's fine. No one's forcing you to be. No one's forcing you to watch it. No one's forcing you to buy anything. You don't have to be. It's fine. But at the same time, for those who are more excited, let them be excited. Maybe their excitement will rub off on everybody else. Just saying. Just saying. And I'm saying that as somebody who, again, admittedly, Let It Be is my least favorite Beatle period, but at the same time, I appreciate this re-release happening because I didn't think they were ever going to do it again. Like, for what reason? Why would they bother? So, seeing that, wait, they're actually doing the thing? Okay, I will sit down and shut up and eat my words. I didn't think they were ever gonna do it. Alright. Love to see it. Love to see it. Would love to own it properly. Just because the completionist in me, it was like the one Beatle film I was pretty much missing. Well, I say that, but I guess technically the Beatles' first US visit counts as a Beatle film if we're being completely 100% legalistic here. I only have a bootleg of that too. Shh. I'm sure I could fix that if I wanted to, but then you get into the whole murkiness of, but they changed things for the DVD release, and then there's different stuff that was included in the VHS that wasn't in that. It ain't that deep. But it's like, maybe they'll do a re-release of that sometime. You don't know. Honestly, I kind of thought 60 years this year, maybe we would potentially have seen that. The year's not up. No one's saying just because we're getting this that we won't get any other Beatle things. Nobody said that. We very well still could. And for as much as people were saying earlier in the year that, oh yeah, we're totally getting Shea Stadium this year, sit down and think for a minute. What makes more sense? This year? Or next year when it's the 60th anniversary of it? I'm pretty sure they're putting a pin in that and they'll get around to it. So just, if this wasn't the release you were looking forward to, sit tight. I'm pretty sure we're still gonna get it. Just, you gotta wait. You gotta be patient. It's okay. Good things come to those who wait. So, that's about where I'm at with this. So, you know, it's nice to see. It's nice to see them actually revisiting projects that they have given absolutely zero freaking love to in decades. In decades. I mean, even counting Get Back. I said Let Back, wow. Even counting Get Back. I honest to God, thought they did that project so they could bury Let It Be. Be like, forget about that over there, look over here, not over there. I thought that was the whole point of it. So actually seeing them come back full circle, I'm like, I respect that move. That was a choice, and they didn't have to take it, but they did. I respect that. So, for all its flaws, for all the inconsistencies between the two films, because they are pushing kind of opposite narratives, I feel like the truth of it probably lays somewhere in between the two. It's probably smack dab in the middle. It's like, some of this one's true, some of this one's true. The truth is right here in the middle. We can agree to disagree. So, anyway, those are my thoughts. That is the news.